Hello, hello! As always, let's first check the audio if it's good. Okay, everything seems good. So, hello everybody, it's your sick and still recovering commentator here. My name is Kirkland and welcome back to another race in GRS for round 7 of this season's championship. Today we're traveling to the Losail International Circuit in Qatar. The track is 5.419 kilometers or 3.367 miles long and has 16 corners along with a single DRS zone on the main straight. The circuit is quite new to the F1 calendar, hosting only 2 races in F1 or in 2021 and 2023, and has extended the contract of its participation until 2033, so we should get used to it as we will see it quite often. The tires are in the hardest range of C1, C2 and C3 with intermediate and wets available, which changeable weather isn't common here as we are in a desert, so we won't be seeing those getting used often, if at all. Looking at the normal driver standings, they were rushed for this stream as they are not official, but Steven Bekovic won the last Grand Prix in Jeddah, extending his championship lead, with Corin McSweeney getting P2 and Lucas Oates getting his first podium of the season. So congratulations to the newly appointed Red Bull driver, making a very nice debut last time in Jeddah for that first race. And yeah, that is very nice. It is going to be very interesting to see in this race if the lead from the McLaren driver is going to be extended even more. Now, I don't have the constructor standings because, like I said, I was rushing this and I don't make these. That's why they look so bad. I do not make these. These were just made just like this. I don't know why I made them actually. But enough about that. We are going into the race, I believe, as we are already in just in time, and it is not raining like I said before. It is very dry and very hot. If it's anything like the real life race, it should be quite hot. But I think actually they changed it so that it's the penultimate race of the season, so it shouldn't be that hot as in 2023. So there shouldn't be too many drivers that are not going to be able to complete the whole race. And we do have some changes in the driver market, with Adam Bradshaw being fired from Mercedes and switches to Haas. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen there, but the move makes a lot of sense with the recent performances the Haas driver had in Mercedes, nearly crashing into the wall in every race. And replacing him is going to be Connor Hawken in the Mercedes, so a really good appointment there from the Mercedes drivers. Connor Hawken we've seen before in F3 in the beginning of the season and F2 currently, that his pace is very good and he is quite consistent. So we will have to wait and see what he's going to be able to do in that seat. And he's going to be also the first guy to watch on a hot lap, and I will give you a little bit of a track guide when that is going to be happening. But as we wait, I do see something in chat. Why did they write no and not 0 on the points? I wrote no because it's a no, of course. No point. Nul point. As you say it in French. I don't know, probably. I don't know French. I don't know why I even said that. Like I said, that's not official. That's just me rushing the standing graphic, so you at least have a little bit of a debrief or a reminder of what happened last time. But enough about that. We have Connor Hawken starting his first lap of the race as he already crosses the pit or the finish line. As you can see, he's hugging a lot of the left side of the track, braking at around 60 meters, going into fourth, short shifting to fifth, the same for turn 2, and staying in that. You can see the car is actually pretty stable going into turn 4, getting to 6th. Usually you see drivers using 5th for extra rotation, but that was pretty solid nonetheless. Going into turn 6, braking around 100 meters. Looks pretty solid so far, the overall lap. Turn 7, also not too shabby, getting in 6th. Turns 8 and 9, I think, where those are flat. Going into turn 10, 4th gear for extra rotation and stability. That is the most optimal gear there. Now going into turns 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. All of these are flat out. A little lift in turn 15, but you can see Connor actually doing it flat out, staying in 7th. So your car actually gets even less speed because of staying in gear. But usually you are going to see people short shifting to 6th to get that speed down. And you saw a little bit of a slide from the back end of that Mercedes, and it is a 121.9. Not a bad lap. Yesterday, I think in F3, the pole lap was I think it was a 0.4, just as Callum has done that lap currently to set a provisional pole time. Zinks behind them, no, that is Oscar behind them, starting a lap in the Ferrari. One of the main contenders for the win yesterday, reserving today in F2, got a podium after getting spun either by himself or by another driver. Was at the back of the field in the beginning stages of the race, but like I said, got a podium, so shows pretty good pace on this track. We will have to wait and see if it's gonna transfer to today's race, as well as Callum Morris, also another move in the driver market, has been hired by Williams, I believe, as he left the Red Bull family, if I think that's how it happened, and now he's racing in F2, not F1 anymore. And already showing decent pace, putting himself in P4 as Adam Bradshaw does overtake him with a 0.7, with Michael McRae 0.7 as well in P2, also one of the main contenders, and the only person to actually do a 2-stop inside top 10. Would have worked if there was another lap of the race. I think the Red Bull driver could have won the race quite easily on the fresh mediums, but I think they were pretty lucky in the first place, as if you didn't watch F3 yesterday, I'm not gonna spoil it too much, but go and watch that race. It was incredible, the last 10 laps. There were many on-track battles happening. It was incredible, and I think that was the only reason why they were able to get so close to the pack, as I don't think the strategy would have worked. That's why I believe we are going to see only one stops happening in this race. Maybe if there's going to be multiple safety cars, or even one safety car right at the end or the middle of the race, which I don't believe there is going to be, as this track, the walls are quite far. This track, actually, you can treat it as a street track, but walls are very far away. This is actually kind of like Jeddah, just a lot of fast speed corners everywhere, and many hairpins. But it is very similar to Jeddah, so you can also look at it that way. As we see Adam Bradshaw binning it once again, this time in... How did he bin it there? Oh, I think the game teleported him. He somehow died in the pit entry wall. He somehow hit that wall, and yeah, that's a retirement already. So Haas already having a lot of fun with their new appointment, as the other Ferrari driver of Zinks is gonna cross the line to start their lap, but I think right behind it is Harvey Conway, finishing his lap 123.1 on the mediums, doing multiple laps on those actually. So probably just having some practice in the short runs on the mediums to prepare for the race if he's going to be doing a different kind of strategy, maybe a hard to medium. We will have to wait and see, or maybe even a 2-stop like Michael McRae did yesterday. It is going to be very fascinating, as the championship leader is also on a outlap, but I think that is Lucas Holds, the team principal reserve for today, crossing the finish line, and is going to be P8. as of his first timed lap. So pretty solid overall, but I do think there is a lot of time to improve there, as the next one to cross the line is going to be HS Moore, but he is, like we said, just starting along with Steven, so Zinx is going to be next to cross the line. Did they know can I update the mods for the Minecraft server? I can. It just takes a long time because I need to, with the server provider, I need to put each individual mod again. So I need to delete it and then put it in again, which is gonna just take an hour. So that's why I don't usually like to update mods when stuff is like that. And usually you don't get anything additional or any additional content with updates. Only just some bug fixes, which I don't really see any bugs with the current versions. So yeah, I can, just very time consuming. So yeah. The Ferrari driver that we were on board with, as I was saying that, puts himself into P3, so very good lap time there from the Ferrari driver, 0.7, another person in that. So that seems to be quite a popular time for everyone, as let's go on board with the championship leader in the McLaren, as Harrison Nickmore is also gonna cross the finish line, puts himself into P11, 22.6, but the McLaren driver is gonna cross it as well, and does not put it on provisional pole, but it is a 0.5, 20 thousandths behind Callum Lyons, the other Aston Martin driver, so still pretty good. Front row is very, very much on the cards. We will just have to wait and see if it's going to stay this way. We do have 8 minutes left in the qualifying session, so there is a lot of time to for the drivers to do 2 laps if they want to, and if they have the tires available. If they don't, they have to use used sets, which on this track you do kind of lose quite a bit of time with the used set of tire, especially the softs, as they do wear out quite quickly. So you either do 3 laps, use all of the tires, or just save one of the softs if you're gonna need it for a latent safety car, which usually is the case in this tier. As Callum Morris is starting his lap once again on a fresh set, with the John Ahern actually using a used set, like I said before. So it is all gonna be to play for. I'm just gonna check the audio once again, because I think something is a bit bad. I think it's actually... No, I think I just didn't hear correctly. Never mind. Let's see, where were we? Oscar McCracken, the F3 reserve, is on the lap. Is anyone finishing their laps? The 2 Mercedes drivers, one of those actually has set a provisional pole lap time of a 121.4, very quick lap time there by Connor Hawken. Mercedes is probably already gonna be quite happy with that one. But let's see if that's gonna transfer into the race. Callum Lyons was on the lap, but they have backed out of it somewhere, so they are probably gonna go again. Michael McRae is on a lap currently, but we do have Callum Morris putting it in P4, a 10.5 of an improvement, which with John Ahern behind also improving with a 22.1, 4 tenths behind Anna Bradshaw, but I do think there is still quite a lot of time to improve. Callum Lyons, like we said, starting another one with Oscar McCracken next across the line. It is going to be a 121.787, putting himself behind his F2 teammate and in P8, but only 3 tenths off of pole. Never mind, it is 4 tenths off of pole, with Michael McRae finishing his lap and putting it on provisional pole. The F3 driver showing a lot of pace even in F2. That is gonna spark some interest around. with the admins probably. Adam Leapage does improve to P9 with a 3/10 improvement. And I think that is Mitch Snape also crossing to start his lap with Connor Hawken going into the pits. John Ahern was on the lap but invalidates. Wasn't an improvement. Corey McSweeney still in the pits. Callum Morris also, unfortunately, has invalidated. So it is going to be Callum Lyons. Let's stay on board with him. Turn 15. And this is what I was talking about. Short shifting to 6th to get that speed down. But you can also stay in 7th like we saw before with Connor Hawken. And it seems to work, as he is still in P2, with Callum Lyons just not having an improvement, 2/1000 off of his previous best lap time. It is a shame, but I do think there is just enough time to do another one if he does have a set of tires to use, which I do think he does. So we will have to wait and see what's going to happen there. Jake Armstrong goes into the pit lane, so he's not going to finish his lap. A Red Bull of Michael McRae going out of the track to get out of the way for a Mercedes of Adam Leapage, who goes into the pits alongside Michael, and Harvey Conway follows them as well, with Mitch Snape invalidating and going in as well. So, currently, the provisional pole lap time is a 1:21.373, 1/10 ahead of the second person in the Mercedes, Connor Hawken, 1:21.471. And another one in the .4s is Callum Lyons, and Steven is not too far behind in P4, 1:21.5. So the top 4 are looking very close indeed. So it is going to be all to play for. It is quite unexpected, in my opinion, for Michael McRae to be leading this session, as we see a Aston Martin of Callum Lyons off into the gravel. I don't know what that was about. Maybe just getting some gravel on the tires, but still I don't know why you would do that, unless you want to add additional weight so you don't go below the weight limit, like George Russell in Belgium. But actually, I think they've actually debunked what happened. I think it was just too much plank wear on the car, but it was, I think, a week or two that I've read that report, so I could be mistaken. I need to read it again. But I believe it was plank wear from memory, and usually that is the case for stuff like that. I don't know. As we do have some people leaving the pits yet again, as it is 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the session, and it is the perfect time to set the final laps of the qualifying session, as the first guy to start is gonna be the Ferrari F2 driver of Zinks, the newly appointed driver actually. I think this is his first race in this tier after his appointment, after Harry Sonic-Moore has switched to Aston Martin. So it is gonna be fascinating to see where his pace is gonna lie. Currently in P6, showing a decent pace for the middle of the pack for the points, but we will have to wait to see what's gonna happen in the race. So we are just gonna stay on board with him for the final lap of his. So as he opens the DRS, opens the overtake as well right before the finish line to get him even more speed, not using too much over the course of the entire straight, braking at 30 meters, maybe even 25 meters, getting to 4th for extra rotation, a little bit of a brake with 4th gear into turn 2, turn 3 flat out of course, going in turn 4, braking at 20 meters again, going to 5th, not like Connor staying in 6th. As you can see, 5th gives you extra rotation indeed. Braking around 30 meters, going into the hairpin of turn 6, getting a pretty solid exit, I think, a little bit squirrely on the exit. 20 meters again, late apex going into turn 7. Turn 8 is flat, turn 9 is flat, turn 10 is just try to get as wide as possible and then enter it in 4th. You can also do short shifts, enter the corner in 5th and then at the exit get to 4th, so your car is a little bit more stable. 3/10 of an improvement by the Ferrari, flat out in 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's see if he's gonna use 6th strategy. A little bit of a late apex, nearly track extending and then validating his lap. Braking at 20 meters once again for the final corner, 4th geared for the best traction. Opening the DRS using the leftover ERS and puts himself into P2, 30 thousandths off of the pole lap time. Mitch Snape finishes the lap as well, but does not improve. An Alpine behind. Chlorine Pilot as well does not improve. Next across line is going to be the Haas driver of Harvey Conway, improving by 5/10. Currently, that is going to put him in P7 right in front of his teammate. Adam Bradshaw retiring in the beginning stages of the race, and he does not. He loses time in Sector 3. He is going to be P9. Now Mercedes going into the pits. Adam Bradshaw. That is with Jake Armstrong not improving as well. The Williams of Callum Morris does improve, but does not improve in positions. The other Williams does the same thing. As we see the championship leader of Stephen Beckoby is crossing the finish line and puts it on pole with a 0.2. The first driver in that, Connor Hawken, is going to cross the finish line, but invalidates. It was enough to put it on pole, but it is a shame for the invalidation. The RB driver crossed the finish line, 6/10 of an improvement, but I do think that was an invalidation, so it is not going to count. The 2 Aston Martins putting it in P15, P3, and Michael McRae takes the pole position from Stephen Beckovies with a 21.0. Very, very good lap time there from the Red Bull driver, with the last driver of John Ahern crossing the finish line and putting it in P8 as we wait for Zinks to cross the finish line to finish the session. So, Michael McRae for F2 confirmed. Oh god. Fascinating. I don't think this is even the first time. I think he's been reserving for quite a bit already and showing that he does have F2 pace. So it could be time to give a promotion to the Red Bull driver. As we've said before, he does put it on pole position with it 21.0. Right behind him, sharing the front row, is going to be Stephen Beckovies. Callum Williams behind P3 Zinks. The second row of the grid, Connor Hawken, Callum Morris in P5 and 6 respectively. P7 for Adam Bradshaw, John Hearn P8 with Oscar McCracken and Lucas Oates in P9 and 10. Harvey Conway P11, Corey McSweeney P12, Zeke Lapich P13, Jake Armstrong P14, Harrison Nickmore P15, Mitch Snape P16, and Chlorine Pilot in P17. So yeah, the grid is looking quite nice and also very close. I think it was a second, or not a second, I mean 7/10 between P1 and P10. So if that's gonna transfer into the race, that is gonna be very fascinating to see. Like I said, in F3 we had that, and it was a very nice close battle. So anything could happen. Quali Merchant, perhaps, but watching yesterday, it's not really that big of a quali merchant because he did have a lot of race pace as well. So when Michael is getting moved up, then I don't know. F3 driver on pole, better than F3 driver winning. Depends. If he's on pole, he's just showing that he just has a really good quali pace over one lap. But looking at yesterday, he also has a really good race pace. So I do think that Michael is at least going to be for contention for the podium. Looking at yesterday. I guess it's all going to be waiting until the race is going to start. If it's going to start, it is. We are waiting quite a while. And as I say it, we are going into the race with 5 red lights, and it is underway for the Qatar Grand Prix. Mitch Snape gets his drive-through penalty for his troubles. as it is Zings behind of Michael McRae, getting a really good start going on the inside of the McLaren of Stephen Bekowiz. He is gonna make that move stick, but no, he does not defend yet, as Michael McRae gets a really, really good start there for his race, already extending it to 3/10. And Dirty Air is gonna have a huge effect in this race. People behind will lose a lot of time in these technical corners, these hairpins, really fast medium speed and fast speed corners. Fast speed actually not as much, but medium speed definitely, as behind we see Stephen Bekovic and Callum Leon going side by side into the hairpin of turn 6, but none of it concluded to anything, as behind them we also have people 3 wide, I believe that is Jake Armstrong, Corey McSweeney, and Harris Wonick Moore going side by side into turn 10 as well. Let's see what's gonna happen there. Still side by side. Harry having really good straight line speed there compared to the McLaren. Makes that move stick. Is he gonna be close to also go on a move to the Williams? I would not do it if I was him, especially not in this place. Maybe in the final corner, but I'll just stay behind for the main straight, as Slipstream is quite OP on this track and this game, so just using that should be a easy way to get the position, as we see the Ferrari driver of Zinx doing the same thing, putting himself into the lead of the race, as we see a very late dive bomb there by Callum Leons, not amounting to anything, but also actually not losing almost any time to the guy's head, as we see 3 people in the pits already, Harvey Conway and Jake Armstrong with damage, and Mitch Snape, like we said before, a drive-through penalty. So chaotic behind, but ahead it is looking quite clean, as there was contact between Jonah Hearn and Callum Morris. Callum Morris getting a brilliant exit there off of turn 7. Or at turn 6, as Callum Leons, I think, maybe even has damage. He is looking very slow in these technical corners in Sector 2, as that's Adam Bradshaw and Lucas Holds making contact, putting each other off of the track, and I did see some debris going off of one of the cars. I do think it is Lucas Holds, indeed, the podium finisher yesterday in F3. Not having the best of times, reserving in F2 today. Very unfortunate there. I do not know what happened. We would need to have it reported to see what has happened there. As Zinx puts a fastest lap of the race, but he is going to get easily overtaken with DRS, as DRS is opened on the first lap of the race. That rule change was introduced in 2024, and of course it transferred to the game. Also, if you don't know how points positions work in F1, it is as follows from P1 to P10: 25, 18, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. You also get a fast lap point if you're anywhere, unlike the real racing, where only if you're in top 10 will you be awarded it. It's just to motivate people behind to race to the fullest. And I think it works. It works very nicely. You do also get in this league a pole position point, so Michael McRae is going to get an additional point added to his name for his pole position. So yeah, that's all fine and dandy. As Michael McRae and Zinx showing quite good pace to Stephen Bekovic, not really extending the gap, as it is staying quite constant with 6/10 separating the 3 drivers. But Stephen also looking very stable in that McLaren, but not pacey, as he is still under pressure from people behind. Callum Morris staying here, as we see Oscar McCracken getting a 3-second time penalty, the first guy to get that, as we do see another change in the lead. Michael McRae getting the fastest lap, but it is Zinx overtaken for the lead once again. He is gonna take it and probably stay there in the first 2 sectors, and even in sector 3. I think behind there's actually quite a battle there. Harris Wonick Moore trying to get back into the points paying positions. Last time he finished in P5, really good position in Jeddah, but today qualified in P12, I believe it is, and currently in P9, so That is to the mistake of others, of course, but I do still think that he is making a really nice way back for himself. As behind we do also have people 3 wide, Lucas Sots, Harvey Conway, and Jake trying to go on a move into turn 2, trying to switch back, but it did not work, as he was not close to try that. And turn 2 is quite sketchy to try and make a move, because it is quite a fast, medium to fast speed corner. So trying to make a switchback or a move around the outside, you're just not gonna do it. It is very difficult to do it. As the DRS train from P1 to P7 is still imminent here, as we see a change in a lead once again, as behind there was a Mercedes off corner faking a move down the inside in turn 1, but none of it concluded to anything, so he stays in P7. But I do think we will see this train staying like this for the rest of the race until the middle, when pit stops are gonna be open. Speaking of pit stops, I do think looking at everyone, medium to hard is gonna be pretty easy. Maybe Michael is gonna do another two stop. We never know. But I think boxing around lap 10 or 11, because tire wear on the hards is pretty much non-existent, and undercut is OP as always in this game. I think lap 10 or 11 is probably going to be the best bet for everyone if they want to do an undercut, and if they want to get some speed over everyone and leave this DRS train. And speaking of it, we will watch it once again on the main straight, as Michael is now going to be under pressure from Zinks. They're literally just switching positions each lap currently. No one going into the pits yet, so no one is trying to stop. I think Michael probably learned his lesson from yesterday, but he still does get overtaken by Zinks. Behind, the Williams was close to the McLaren as well, but not close enough to make a move. But this race is just gonna be a patience race. Either one of these drivers or multiple make a mistake, or in the middle of the battle you crash into each other, or you just wait until pit stops. It's those 3 and nothing else really, because you can switch positions like we are watching Michael and Zinks do, but it's literally not gonna count for anything. And if you just stay in this DRS train, you are gonna just extend your gap to people behind. As you saw a few laps before, Adam Bradshaw was 2 seconds only behind off corner. Now he is 3 and nearly a half seconds behind. That is just the extent of what DRS gives you on this track, especially. It gives you, and slipstream of course, it gives you definitely at least half a second or maybe even more. And because you don't really lose a lot of that in the okay, Connor, don't go side by side there, you are gonna be fully pushed off. Never mind, that is a move done there by Connor Hawken going into turn 15, but that's gonna not really work, as he does not have DRS anymore. He does? He was outside of a second at the DRS detection point. There's no way he got DRS there. There's no way, as Zinks has been overtaken once again for the lead. But yeah, as I was saying, you just gotta wait for the pit stops, I would say. Just play the patient game and wait for people to get penalties, because penalties, watching yesterday's race and of course the race in F1 23 usually, and also previous racing leagues races on this track as well, people do tend to extend quite massively and get penalties. And it doesn't span over like 2 to 3 drivers. It's literally everyone track extends on this track and gets a penalty eventually. We did see that with Michael McRae getting a 6-second time penalty yesterday, so he's gonna be hoping to not get that this race, to actually be able to stay in the fight for the podium. As they are not extending, but I do think Michael and Zinks are showing more pace than Steven, Callum, the other Callum, and Connor behind. as it is going to be another switch in positions for the lead. And we are only watching this battle because there is literally nothing happening anywhere else. It is quite spread out. This is the only interesting train of the session, as I do think Connor Hawken is outside 1 second, but just gains everything back again in turns 1 and 2. Probably because of the dirty air. I don't think he was close enough to get any effect of it, but now he is, as we see Callum Morris being another victim of the track limit penalties with Adam Bradshaw, both of them getting 3 seconds. That will be added to their tally later on, and we finally actually have a move happening behind Mitch Snape in the Sauber and Lucas Hodes in the Visa Cash Grabs MasterCard PayPal car. Of course, I do not remember the full name. Luke Mills would know that better than me, the owner of the league. But it is a very fascinating name for the cash apps or cash grabs or money stealers. But Connor Hawken again is back into 2/10 or within 2/10 of the Aston Martin ahead. So all of the time he lost by overtaking John Hearn, he gained back, and John is actually the one that is not really staying in it, even with DRS, as he's lost 4/10 in this straight alone. So that is very unfortunate for the Sauber driver there. As behind we have a move for the final points paying position, Harry Swan McMore with Corey McSweeney. Around the outside goes the Aston Martin driver. Corey having a little bit of a snap at the exit of turn 1 and just making that move easy for the Aston Martin. As we did see another penalty being awarded, and we see another one for Jake and Harvey Conway. So, just like I said, penalties are very, very common on this track. And just like I said. The real talent is winning an F2 race while in F3, just saying. I mean, currently Michael is leading, so it is quite a big possibility that we are gonna see an F3 driver winning, and I think that is gonna give even more motivation for the Red Bull to be moved up into F2. We'll have to wait and see. Charlie Roberts, 2 moves already. Charlie Roberts, he is Alpine, I think. Chlorine Pilot, yes. He is currently last. So definitely making 2 moves. Lucas doing Lucas things, as we do see the first person to pit, Connor Hawken, going from the mediums probably to the hards. Not another switch in the lead. Zinks overtaking Michael McRae. But let's see here, is there going to be a fast pit stop for the Mercedes? It is not, as he is forced to wait a little bit there, but I do think that was just lag, as we do see new fresh shiny hards being put under the Mercedes, and you will now see the effect of the undercut here. Even though these people, these drivers, are in the DRS train, the new tires will give a lot of time to corner behind, so I'm not gonna doubt that we're gonna see everyone here in this DRS train pitting, because no one here is gonna get double stacked, because everyone here is from different teams. So at least 4 of these drivers, I'm gonna predict the Zinks, Michael, Steven, and Callum are gonna box, as Harrison Nickmore gets another 3-second time penalty, which will be added to his name later on. As yeah, very fascinating. Behind we do see a change in position, Harvey Conway and Mitch Snape not really leaving each other enough space around the outside of turn 5. Harvey Conway doing the same thing, but Mitch Snape is now on the inside, and I think that is gonna be moved done for the Sauber driver. No switchbacks made from the Haas, as ahead it is only one person actually boxing with Callum Lyons in the Aston Martin, which I will say I am quite surprised that people are not reacting to the undercut of the Mercedes. As let's see if Connor is gonna move ahead. I do believe he is. The only question is, what kind of a gap will it be? It will probably be around half a second, I would say, but if you remember, Connor was behind of Callum, and now he is ahead, and that just shows you the undercut and how it works. And he is also outside of his DRS. Callum will not have DRS for the next straight. And that is the undercut. As we see another move in positions here, Lucas Holt's going down the inside of Mitch Snape, but Mitch Snape doing a switch back, very nice one there from the Sauber, but unfortunately just the outside has more traction because it's on the racing line. It's more grippy on the racing line, and Lucas Holtz just stays in that position. Nearly the Sauber goes into the back of him, but thankfully he does not. He will have to stay behind. On those hards, as we see Zinks going into the pits, Michael McRae and Steven still staying out, with Callum Morris also following Zinks, with John Ahern behind, Adam Bradshaw also staying out, with Harry Swanwick Moore going into the pits as well. Adam Lepage getting a 3-second time penalty. So it is very interesting indeed. We are on board with Zinks, who is just about to go into the pit exit. Where is he gonna emerge compared to the Mercedes of Connor Hawken? He is gonna emerge just ahead, around a second and a half. So actually, Connor Hawken was not close, or didn't really have a good, or actually Zinks had a really good in-lap for the pits to still stay ahead of the Mercedes, but that is still quite decent from Connor, as he does improve 2 positions because he was behind Callum and the other Callum. As we see Harvey Conway getting a 3-second penalty once again, as that is very nice. As I do think we are gonna see the leaders boxing. Never mind, we are not. I think they're just probably taking advantage from this DRS little DRS train consisting of 2 cars. Because otherwise I don't really see a point of them staying out. Mitch Snape getting another 3-second time penalty. We will have to wait and see later if it's gonna pay out. It is gonna be incredibly close to paying out, but I do think that Zinks is gonna emerge ahead of these two when they are about to box. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. You did lose around 21 seconds in the pits. Currently it is 23 seconds from Zinks to Steven, so maybe they are actually getting a big advantage because of DRS, a little DRS train and box, and actually having a number cut. I do not know. I do still think that they do lose just way too much time. They do gain half a second maybe with DRS and slipstream on the main straight, but they lose more than that on in the corners alone because of the old mediums. Because tire wear is quite does have a big effect on the track, as Connor Hawkins spins out into the hairpin of turn 7. Very unfortunate there for the Mercedes, as he was having a very nice undercut there, but all of that work will pay none, as he is still in the points, but he would have been so much higher, as Steven Bebekovic finally does box Adam Bradshaw following him right behind. And we will have to wait and see where Zinks is gonna emerge, and it is definitely gonna be ahead. You can just see it clearly that he is gonna be ahead. And the only question is where or how much. And it is actually a very big gap, because you also have to count the McLaren driver having to heat up his tires, and those being the hards, they are quite hard to heat up, especially on this track. Or actually no. I think because of the track being later on in the calendar, I think it is a little bit more difficult to heat up the tires than previously, like in 23. Because in 23 they would just instantly overheat, but now I think they do stay in optimal temperatures most of the times, unless you really drive aggressively and push over the limit. But it is showing very nice places for the Ferrari, as he is definitely gonna emerge ahead of Michael McRae. And the only question now is, I guess, when Michael is gonna box, because he's still staying out, and how much are the fresher hards gonna pay dividends to Red Bull? Because looking at Steven and Zinx, they are posting the exact same times, with Steven on 3 lap fresher or 2 lap fresher hards. So the difference is very marginal, but Michael is gonna have even fresher tires than 3 laps. So maybe it's gonna be even better. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. In due time, as we see a overtake going into turn 1 with Harrison Moore and Corey McSweeney battling once again. These two cannot get rid of each other, but that is just Qatar. Dirty Air is not as harsh, and the DRS and Slipstream is just OP, and you're just gonna not be able to get away from anyone if you are ahead of the train. It is just how the track is made. You're constantly going to be switching positions all the time until the end of the race, and then what happens. If you get a penalty, well, you're screwed. And if you don't, you're going to benefit a lot. But looking at the left side of the screen, you see that nearly everyone has a penalty. Is Michael going to box? Finally, he does box. 22 seconds separates the Red Bull to the Ferrari. It is definitely going to be a overtake made by the Ferrari, who also has a dent plate missing. So he's actually... How did that happen, actually? Now that I think about it, there must have been a contact made before the pit stops, but he is still showing quite decent pace, even with the missing end plate, as Michael McRae is gonna emerge behind Steven Bekoes, I believe. As Steven does have fresher tires, Michael has to heat him up. This is the only really opportunity that he will have to overtake him, but he does not. He will not be able to, as Michael... I think he actually has quite nice straight line speed in the Red Bull. But because of that end plate missing on the Ferrari, I do think that Michael will get behind of the Ferrari quite easily. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But it is quite impressive that they are not losing that much time with damage in these very technical corners where you do kind of need downforce, and why setups are in the high downforce range and high downforce window. Maybe actually that's why he's not losing time. Maybe because of that high downforce setups, you don't really lose too much time. I do not know. I'm not an engineer versed in these things. I do not understand these things. But they do fascinate me. They are very, very, very interesting indeed. But one thing I am intrigued in is if these three are gonna help each other get closer to Zinx, or are they gonna be battling all of the time with Callum Morris happily staying behind, but Steven overtaking Michael for P2, with Mitch Snape getting another 3-second time penalty. I think that was Adam Bradshaw as well, getting a 3-second time penalty. Speaking of penalties, let's take a look at them, as we see Callum Morris, John Ahern, Adam Bradshaw, Oscar McCracken, Jake Armstrong, and Charlie Roberts having 3 seconds. With Harrison Moore, Corey McSweeney, Mitch Snape, Harvey Conway, and Zach Leipich having 6 seconds. So that is very fascinating indeed, as we have already crossed the middle stage of the race. The most positions gained is by Harrison Moore, as I said before. The Aston Martin driver did start quite low. I said 12th, but it seems they started 15th, so improving 6 positions is quite decent. And Lucas Oates starting in B10, currently in P17, being the unfortunate gatherer of the lost position trophy. But we are gonna see another change in positions actually happening here, with Michael McRae getting a very easy overtake, as always on this track. Just we've seen this 15 more times. Same thing with Callum Lyons and John Hearn, and same thing with Corey McSweeney and Harris Winrick Moore. So yeah, no retirements actually yet, and overall, I will say that the racing has been quite decent. But you can't really go wrong with Qatar, because you're just easily gonna overtake in the DRS straight, on the main straight, and then you'll just stay behind in all of these sections of Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3, as behind Adam Bradshaw spins, with Corey getting a 3-second time penalty. So yeah, you're just gonna stay behind, you're not gonna make contact, and yeah, there's just no ways you can really crash. You can spin, but you cannot crash anywhere. So I do think that we are gonna have everyone finishing the race. But it is quite spread out. It is quite spread out, and even if it's not, the switches in positions are literally just in the straight, as we see Oscar McCracken getting a 3-second time penalty. Another one added to his name. John Hearn overtaken, goes into P5. Behind it is going to be Harris Winrick Moore being overtaken by the Williams of Corey McSweeney. Very easy overtake happening there. I haven't seen if they are losing any time to Oscar behind. I could keep an eye on that a little bit more, but Zinks is now gonna be under pressure by the people behind, as he has finally been caught. Michael McRae is within 1 second of the Ferrari, which means that he will have the arrest for the main straight. And looking at it, I think Zinks is finally getting the effect of wing damage, losing a lot of time in Sector 2 compared to the Red Bull. I think the wing now is not playing favorites here on the Ferrari, as he will, I think, lose many positions when dirty air is going to be in effect as well, when Michael is finally going to overtake. I do think that a win is lost for the Ferrari, but a podium, it is not. A podium I do still think is on the cards for Zinks, but anything can still happen. People can still crash, people can still spin, but looking at everything, people are not really crashing into each other. Everyone's keeping it very clean, just as Callum overtakes John Hearn, Harris Winrick Moore overtakes Corey McSweeney, just everything staying the same. Actually, Oscar has been overtaken by Adam Bradshaw, who spun before. Yeah. Nothing much really happening, as these aren't really battles, they're just very easy and free overtakes because of the RS OP-ness. You don't really see side-by-side action into turn 1 or turn 2, just OP, DRS and slipstream. But actually, not looking at it, okay, never mind. I was gonna say that Zinks has a lot of ERS, but so does everyone behind him, so that doesn't really do anything to him. So yeah, let's just stay on board with this, see what is gonna happen. Though, as I do think that it is gonna be a move done by Michael McRae. Zinks moving outside the racing line to defend the position, but he cannot do anything compared to the Red Bull, who overtakes quite easily. Yeah. Now the question is the Ferrari gonna be able to stay behind with the dirty air, and is he gonna be able to defend from Steven behind and Callum? I guess we will have to